welcome back to the Pipe and Tobacco Talk podcast. With me, as always, my dear friend Tim Beaumont, and I'm Jim Steffi, and we're working on continuous improvement because two old guys behind the mic, no telling what's going to happen.
That's right.
Tim.
Smells like Ben Gay in here.
Exactly. So it's Labor Day. Happy Labor Day for everybody that we're recording on Labor Day. We had our producer Ben apparently had his rock star gig last night, so he couldn't produce the show. And really, quite frankly, nobody wants to see Jim and Tim produce the show because it will just be a disaster.
Right. Yeah, we'll produce
All right. 44 minutes of unwatchable nonsense with no sound.
White noise.
That's right. Two old guys waving frantically at their laptops. It'll be
40
awesome.
40 minutes of check, sound check.
Test. Excellent. So, as always, we start off with what's new. What's new in Tim Beaumont's collection? Did you add anything this week? Did you pick anything up? Do you have anything new? Any new pipe that you're working on? Anything? Tell me something new.
Well, I got a couple of things here to share with you. The first is a new old. This goes back about maybe a year or better. There's a young guy on Instagram that makes pipes in his backyard. I think he's in Washington, DANCREEK. And all hand tools. And we did a little pipe trade. He reached out to me and said, hey, I'll make you a pipe if you make me a pipe. And that's what we did. So he asked me, what's one of your favorite things in life? And of course, beer is one of my favorite things. And it depends on the day. It's either beef or beer, one of the two. Used to be tits. Mm-hmm. Still mostly is, but beer and beef.
Well, we've kind of crossed the threshold for that, I think, at this point. I mean, we can still admire them, but we're not doing much with them anymore.
We're not, right. So anyway, Dan, he cooked up a pipe for me, and I wanted to share it here. It's a beer stein. It's a straight pipe. It's a poker. Beer stein. Did this by hand. You've got a contrast, or I guess a die on the bottom of it, and a line across there where the foam starts and the foam runs down around the sides. So he did a really good job on this pipe. Smokes real well too. The nice thing about it is I bet you there's the walls of that chamber are probably at the top. I bet you they're 3/4, and then it goes down to about 3/8 at the bottom. So you could smoke the hell out of it, and it won't get hot. So nice. Thank you, Dan. I actually got this out today and took it for a spin around the block. He reached out to me on Instagram and said, "Hey, how you liking that pipe?" And I thought, well, get it out and bring back memories. So that's that. Actually... Go ahead.
No, you're fine. You were rolling right along.
Oh, okay. And then I finished a pretty challenging commission this week for Father Brian Leonard. He's in Mystic, Connecticut. He purchased a couple of pipes for me and then asked me to make one for him in a Marian theme. And it was really challenging trying to come up with how in the world do you create a religious icon in a pipe. And so I went into closed myself in the bunker, got a can of baked beans, Bowie knife, opened her up, an MRE.
You were ready to rumble.
And I said, no matter how loud I scream, don't open that door until I come out with an idea.
Set a give?
So anyway, here's the pipe. The light here is terrible. I got lights in here like an interrogation room, and I still have terrible light. But what this is it's a bent pipe. Um, the icon is represented by an orb. If you look in the apse of a church, in the front, you'll see generally a dome, and on the inside of the dome there'll be the Mother of God, and then you'll have the Christ in her lap, and
Mm-hmm.
the images of Christ emerging from her. And so that dome, the apse, represents the cosmos. So that's what the globe here does, is it represents the cosmos, made up of the Mother of God and Christ. And then you have in the center, of course, you have the cross, and then there's a circle which represents the world, and you can see that's kind of rough and messy, and Christ is in the midst of that. There are two arms on either side of the pipe. Those represent the dual nature of God, of Christ, God and man, and you can see it's holding up the cosmos. And then on the cap, that's rosewood. And Mary is generally depicted with roses. There's a blue dot in the front here that represents Mary, and then a red dot for the sacrifice of Christ. So there you have it. And
Wow. I hope you made a video of that.
I did, and it took me there's got about 10 hours in this pipe, and so there's an awful lot of footage. So I got some editing to do.
All right. Excellent. Well, that is spectacular. And I was going to mention earlier, I'm actually in a chat group with DANCREEK, and he periodically does Instagram lives where you can actually see him working on the pipe. And I'm amazed at what he creates just based on doing it all with hand tools. There's no lathe. It's just hand sanding and a Dremel, and it's quite remarkable. He just made a Miami Dolphins pipe that was just unbelievably sharp. So,
yeah,
well done.
Yeah,
Excellent.
he does a fabulous job for using those
and the
the
pipe
tools,
for
hand
Father.
tools.
Yeah, and that pipe is spectacular, and you need to post pictures of it right away, or get it to Father so that he can say, "Oh, this is exactly what I was thinking of." Because
Yeah, he's seen
that's
it already.
what I would think of.
He likes it. Yeah, he's seen it already. He likes it.
Excellent.
So, yeah. So there you have it. That's what's new.
All right. Excellent. Well, just so you all know, we have pipe and tobacco talk stickers now available. If you leave us a review, you just let us know via Instagram or email, and I'll send you out a sticker or two or three.
Beautiful.
No telling what I'll do.
That's
do
right.
with them. What's new here? So, as you know, I have a pretty close relationship with Nate and Justin from Pipe Spores and Pals. I'm in a football league with them, and Nate contacted me early last week and said, "Hey, you've been so nice to us. Would it be okay if I sent you some tobacco?" And gosh, I hate it when tobacco shows up in the mail. That's just awful. It's just a terrible thing, and it's awful. So he sent me a tin of Maltese Falcon, which is one of my just an underrated tobacco blend. I don't understand why more people don't smoke Maltese Falcon. I really enjoy it. And then he sent a tin of one of my top 10 blends, which is Quiet Nights. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, great. That's a good one.
And then he
Quiet
sent,
Nights.
yep. And then he sent a couple of tins of Balkan Sassani, which again, another fantastic blend. Because you and I both love Latakia, and boy, that's a Latakia forward blend that I really like. And then as a bonus, he sent me a sample of Mac Baren mixture, and it's 22 years old. It was tinned in 2001. Absolutely spectacular. I had a bowl of it yesterday, and it's just wonderful. When tobacco gets to be 20 years old, it's pretty special. It is mellowed out. It is just dramatically wonderful. So that's
good stuff.
And then the last thing he sent was some 1792 flake from Samuel Gawith. and I have not tried this yet, but the tin note is spectacular. And these are just wonderful blends, and I couldn't be more thrilled that Nate thought of me to send those to me. So thank you, Nate. I greatly appreciate it. He sent a wonderful little handwritten note, and that's always a nice touch. This is what, if you don't love the pipe community, I really don't think you understand it, because people just do the most gracious things, and it's one of the more thoughtful communities that I've ever been in, and I've been in several. And the people in the pipe community are always warm and welcoming and very accepting, and I just absolutely love being a part of it. So that's what's new. A
couple of good guys
here at my house.
Yeah, good guys, both of them.
Absolutely. Yeah, Justin and Nate are just absolutely fantastic. I love their podcast. I make sure to listen to it every Wednesday morning. And, I'm in their fantasy football league, and I'm in there with Get Piped, and he's another great podcaster. And I do a podcast with Mike and Iris, the That Sort of Weird. And, again, just the graciousness of the pipe community is spectacular. So,
beautiful.
Anyway, so if you'd like to get a Pipe and Tobacco Talk sticker, leave us a review and shoot me an email and with your address on it, and I'll get a couple of stickers out to you.
Here, let me throw in.
So,
I found.
All right, next
I found
up.
Also, here, let me share this too. The other day, I was digging through a box and I found a tin of McClellan's Oriental, and it's only about 3 years old. And opened it up. Boys, it smells great. Tastes delicious. So that was a lucky find. I don't even remember getting this. I don't know where it came from, but I found it. And
well,
it's like finding $20 in your pants pocket,
Yeah, exactly. Don't know where it came from, but man, pretty exciting.
That's right.
All right. So next, our next segment is always Pipe Talk. And Tim showed his latest piece of work, which is absolutely breathtaking. And I know you've been working your way through some commissions. So where are you at right now? What's going on in pipes, in PapaBear's pipes currently?
Well, I've got a couple of calabashes that have been ordered, and I'm going to get started on those this week. I've got a volcano, bent volcano with bamboo. I had to order some more Cumberland rod material so I can finish that one. Once I get those three done, I'm caught up, and I can start building pipes for the more pipes for the Las Vegas show.
Excellent. Now, do you have anything specific in mind for the Vegas show? Are you going to just make a variety of pipes, or going to go out on a limb and be hyper creative, or you want to keep it to stuff you think will sell?
A little bit of both, I think. I would need to take pipes that'll sell because I got to pay for the trip. But I also want to do some things that are a little bit out there. And when I say out there, ones that have some more intricacy than traditional smooth pipe. For example, I did a multifaceted panel pipe for the Instagram pipe makers for the month of August. And a lot of time went into that. And there's some smooth areas and some sandblasting, some exotic woods, and some exotic wood on the stem. Those take a lot of time, but they're beautiful when they turn out right. And so I want to have a few of those. Yeah. And just I'm going to go through what I've got and take the very best that I have. And so I want to have enough to pick through because, when you're throwing away 80% of them because they're not the best you have. I'm joking, actually. My mom says that all my pipes are beautiful.
Yeah. I have a scrap box of briar that didn't turn out well. Yeah. I have the jar of doom, so I am well aware of things that have gone sideways. And when they're really bad, I put them in a shadow box to store forever. So
right, sure, yeah.
Excellent,
hey,
excellent.
Anything else new?
Tobacco.
No, that's. I think that's enough.
All right. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot easier on me than it is on you. You know, you get a $25, $45, $55 piece of briar and trash it, you know. I lose a couple of bucks when a blend goes sideways. So big difference.
There is. Yeah. That's why I try to avoid the big oopses as much as possible.
Yeah.
And anymore, I work until I get tired. And when I feel like I'm getting tired, I quit. And it seems like my quits outpace my starts by maybe 2.
You go out. I'm going to work in the shop today, and you walk out at 9:00 in the morning, and by 9:10 you're like, nah, I'm just not feeling it today. This is not my day.
Bushed.
Yeah, you know, I had all the intentions of doing wonderful things today, and I haven't set up my shop outside in the garage, and because I had today off, I spent almost all morning setting up. You know, I've got buffers and sanders and stuff that's got to be set up and stuff put away and all the chemicals that I use. And by the time I was done, it's like, oh, you know what? The couch looks magical, and I think I'm going to ride it for a couple hours. And that's what we did. You know.
Yeah.
You know, every now and then you've got to take your Exer sofa for a ride with a little couch mix.
Right. Yeah. You know, the first thing I think I'm going to do, being that today or tomorrow's actually the Monday of the week, since today was a holiday, is work on cleaning that shop. If I don't clean that shop, I'm going to get hepatitis. It's that bad in there.
Yeah. You know, when you're standing ass deep in in shavings and dust, maybe just hit the shop vac once in a while.
Right. You know, if you drop a basketball in there and it gets lost.
Yeah. Just because the sawdust is knee deep doesn't mean that it needs to be swept up. I understand completely. Yeah. In fact, I've taken to keep the vacuum cleaner in the office, so my wife doesn't have to carry it up the stairs, and I just vacuum fairly regularly because when I start blending and I've got a fan. So in today's segment of Piss Me Off, houses in Colorado, this 3-story nonsense, I really don't enjoy the 18 to 22 degree temperature swing from the lower level to the upper level. So when I come up into the pipe and tobacco room, I have to have the fan going or it's unbearably hot. And as a bonus, it's a west-facing room. So the sun beats down on it all afternoon long, just makes it miserable. So I have a fan going, and I don't know if all of you know, but pipe tobacco is fairly light, and when the fan, and I have it's an ovulating spindle fan. I mean, ovulating. Yeah, that's it. It's an ovulating fan, Jim. No, it's
pissed off at you 7 days a month.
Yeah, the fan is really nice to me for about a weekend every 30 days. But I've got an oscillating spindle fan, and when it swings around and I'm pouring blenders in, sometimes they'll just go off on their own like feathers in the wind. And so I am frequently vacuuming. And then today, I spent the day hand cutting whole leaf latakia, which is a special treat if none of you have done that. It can't be shredded because it's so dry. You can't really rehydrate it to the point where it will run through the shredder. So you have to hand cut it. And man, I had to turn the fan off for a while because it was like, oh, make a cut and then watch it go off onto the floor. So that's what's new and exciting. But it's really interesting. I've had an influx of people asking for custom blends. So I'm still working on a custom blend for KM Pipes. We started off with a blend that had a little bit of latakia. And when I say a little bit of latakia, it was less than 10%. But it wasn't quite the right fit for him. So I made another 2 samples for him, and those will go out tomorrow afternoon. And we'll see what KM has to say about him. And the blend will be called Hail and Farewell England, and he got me this picture of a really cool flag for the label. And if you've seen my labels, please understand that I am not a graphic artist. If it wasn't for Mike at Pipe and Tamper, I would still be using square labels. And Mike came up with the label design, and I've been able to manipulate a little bit, but I'm still not very good. And I'm not really working to improve my skills on it. I just do the best that I can and hope and pray. And then Rob called me up and messaged me and said, hey, I'm really interested in a custom blend, and I want this. And I sent him some suggestions, and he's traveling through Europe at the moment, so communication's a little spotty, but when he gets back to me, we'll see how that goes. And then the most interesting conversation I had was with Kane, who asked us a question last week in the Ask Us Anything. And, we've lost Tim. Tim? All right. Not the most exciting segment for Tim because he's gone.
I can see me.
Well, I can't see you. So, all right. Well, I can hear you.
You can hear me.
So we're good.
Well, that's the best part.
I can hear you. I can't see you.
Yeah. I got a face for radio, so.
In a podcast, yeah.
It works out.
Yeah. And my wife tells me I have a voice for silent movies. So I think we're good.
I think Ben's been watching this and he's trying to save the show. He wiped my face off of it.
Well, as I told Mike when we were recorded Saturday night for That's Sort of Weird, which is the other podcast that I do, I said I look like Wookiee Santa Claus. So, maybe it's best that we just do the podcast and not actually have a video associated with it.
Dirty Santa Claus. I prefer Dirty Santa Claus.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're back. All right. So a great conversation I had with Kane on Sunday. He said, have you tried any of the other bitters flavors? And I said, well, I know less than nothing about bitters. Even though I was a bartender back in my very early 20s, it was a shot in a beer place. So bitters weren't really on the menu. And he said, they've got this cranberry bitters and black walnut bitters and orange bitters. And what do you know? Some of them showed up at the house, and he had some ideas for some blends. And I'm waiting on one more bitters to show up, and then I'll probably make 4 or 5 blends using the different bitters. And Kane came up with some excellent suggestions. And that's what I love. I think you feel the same way when people call you up and want to commission pipe. When people call me up and ask me to make them custom blends, it's absolutely magical. And I've done 3 so far for Kane, the Vermilion Peak and the Acadia Parish and Jack Silver Lake. And for him to come up with 5 ideas in about a 20-minute conversation was spectacular. So absolutely.
That's great.
And, yeah, and I went through a period where I was not feeling very creative when I first moved here. All my stuff was in boxes, and I wasn't overly motivated. And, Mike came to me and said, I want you to make me this, Satanic Panic. And Satanic Panic kind of started just a rash of creativity. And Noah called me up and said, I really like this Luna Negra, but if you added this to it and put a little bourbon on it, he said, this will be really close to, Frog Morton. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I try not to copy blends as much as possible because it's impossible. I can't duplicate what McClellan's does. I can't duplicate what C&D does. And I'm sure it's similar in pipe making, where trying to copy somebody else's work is always
it just doesn't feel
doomed
right.
to failure.
Yeah. Well, but it's just not.
No.
You got the core shapes, but you want it to be your own artistic statement.
Yep, exactly. So, and that's I think the highlight for tobacco blending for me is when people come to me and say, "Hey, I'd like you to make a blend for me." I just absolutely love that. And to have something, to have people come back and ask for more blends. In fact, Harrison is sending me some samples of some stuff. Says, I want you to get as close to this as possible. I said, okay, we'll do that for you, Harrison. And you know, it's kind of magical. Have you tried this? No, I haven't. That's the creative spark, and I absolutely love it. So, as far as in pipe tobacco, I haven't really picked up anything new per se. I did get some new tobaccos, Picaroon, and a couple of different burleys. I got a Kentucky burley and a Maryland burley that I really like, both of those. And those are going to come in some new blends here fairly quickly, and some orange leaf Virginia, which is really interesting. It's a flue cured, so it's got a unique tin note by itself, but I think there are going to be some pretty special blends using that. So, all right.
Very cool.
Excellent. So we've covered pipes, we've covered tobaccos. Now we get into the fun part of the show, which is Ask Us Anything. And I absolutely love the questions that people ask. I know Tim's got a couple, and I promised Rob that his question will be the first one that we answer on the podcast today, because he sent it. We just missed the cutoff. I got the message after we recorded episode 3, and this is episode 4. So I wanted to make sure that we ask Rob's question first. And Rob's question is, any tips on cellaring tobacco? At what point does the cellaring process get impactful? 3 years, 7 years, etc. And his second part of the question, is it better to cellar in the tin or in a mason jar? So, Tim, what are your thoughts?
Well, Rob, I'm not going to be a whole lot of help to you, because I've been a pipe smoker for 3 years now. And I have a problem delaying gratification. So I tend to break into things, and begin sampling and then just consume it all. And after the fact, think, gee, I should have cellared some of that. Now, that said, I've let people do the work for me, and I've got a few old tins of McClellan, Black Cavendish. I've got some Virginia cake I think it's about 20 years old. It's in a mason jar that I haven't had the heart to break into those, because they've got those old dates on them, and I know once I break into them, the jig is up. So I'm just not going to be a whole lot of help to you in answering that question. Complete neophyte here on tobacco.
Fair enough. So, Rob, here's
I know that
my
instills a
answer
lot
to
of
the
confidence in the audience, but
Well, I would much rather you be honest than to make stuff up. So, Rob, here is how I will answer your question. It depends on the tobacco. So, I have Orla Golden Slice and Newminster 400 Superior Navy Flake that I've had in jars for 2 years. And periodically I'll crack it open and try it. And I really think that the 2 to 3 year mark is where you start to see noticeable changes from, say, a fresh tin versus a 3-year-old tin. And I think that's where the demarcation line is, that 2 to 3 year change. When you can let them sit. And I think I have 180 jars of various tobaccos in my closet, and I keep it dark. And in the second part of your question, is it better to cellar in the tin or in a mason jar? I am a mason jar guy. I have had several blends that came to me that were a little bit older, and so that Savinelli Essenza Cipriata is one of my favorite blends. And I was fortunate enough when I was ordering those back in 2021 that all the tins that I got, and I have 24, 25 of them, that were from 2016. So they were aged before I got them. And when I cracked the first tin, I discovered a little bit of rust inside the tin, which at that point convinced me that I am not letting them sit in tins. I will put them in jars. I put everything in jars. In fact, every blend that I make, I put in jars because I don't trust tins. And it's fine when you order, like say, Quiet Nights. Great. Comes in a tin. Once you open that tin, the little plastic lid, it's not like Tupperware. It will dry out quickly. It will not age properly. I highly recommend you use jars. So that's my 2 cents. And a minimum of 2 to 3 years if you're cellaring something. The thing to remember about celling, if you're cellaring English or Balkan blends, Balkan tends to lose a little bit of its potency as it goes on because all the flavors start to meld, and the Latakia kind of takes a back seat, if that makes sense. So I have a couple dozen jars of Balkan Sassany that's now 3 years old, and it is a noticeable difference from a fresh tin. And the Balkan does start to move more to the background. So there we go. If you want to talk about how Latakia is made, obviously this is a smoke cured, depending on whether you get Cyprian Latakia or Latakia from someplace else, it is Smyrna leaf that is smoked. And that smokiness does tend to alleviate and lessen the longer it goes. So that's just my thoughts on it. So there you go. All right, Tim, you've got a question now. So what's your first question?
All right, this one comes from one of the Briar Bastards groups. It says, "Hey brother, got a question for your podcast. Getting into higher shelf rum. I just picked up a bottle of Appleton Estate 8-year-old reserve. What tobacco will pair well with that? I was thinking of Virginia or a Virginia blend. With a rum, for me, a sweeter drink, I think I would either go with I'd probably just go with a Cavendish, a Virginia, something that's got a bit of a sweet note to it. Seemed like that would go pretty good. I've never been much of a rum drinker because rum and I have a history, and other people tell me what that history is. I don't ever remember it. I think they're all just full of baloney, but it doesn't sound good. So I rarely drink rum. But if I drank rum, that's what I would have it with.
All right.
How about you, Jim?
Excellent. Me personally, I really like rum. I have a couple of different spice rums sitting behind me in my alcohol rack. I have some Captain Morgan's private stock, which I really like. There are a couple other rums that its names elude me, and I'm not turning around to find out what they are. I really like Virginia blends, so something that's Virginia forward, and then I would say a light sweet English blend would hit the spot. So if you're looking for something in the light English that would, that's commercially available, I would highly recommend, Senza Cipriata from Savinelli. I think that would be an excellent pairing with rum. I also think perhaps, I have to think about that for a minute. But I would think Virginia Forward or La Golden Slice would probably be excellent. Now remember, anything that's a navy blend has rum on it, or at least that rum molassesy taste. So if you pick up a blend like Sextant or Newminster's 400 Spear Navy, or anything that says Navy, that's got a rum flavor to it. And that might be a good pairing too. So excellent question. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you asking us a great question like that. All right. What's your next question?
Well, this one comes from Mike at the Pipe and Tamper. It says, "Jim, will you be calling in sick in order to come to Vegas?"
Ooh. I am trying to find a way to get there. I really am. It's just difficult at this point. There's some things going on at work that makes it very difficult for me to get away. But I am going to try to be in Vegas. So, and you'll see me and Tim at the same table. So, Tim is going to bring some of my blends, and we're going to talk about which ones are coming. So, if you have seen the ESF blend list and you want to see something at the show, let us know. We will certainly try to accommodate you to the best of our abilities. So,
yep.
All right, excellent. All right, so I have another. So 408's S Wander asked, what platform can we listen to your podcast on? Tim, where can you find the Pipe and Tobacco Talk podcast?
Well, you can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts.
Wonderful.
Wherever fine podcasts are sold.
That's right. And 408S Wonders and Rob, if you send me your address, I will send you some stickers. Thank you for the wonderful question. So my next question is from at Noah's House, and Noah is what I would consider to be a very close friend. I really enjoy his channel. If you haven't checked out at Noah's House, not only does he do tobacco blend reviews, he also does gardening stuff, and he's got this amazing garden. And if you haven't seen him work in his garden, it's kind of magical. I love gardening. It's one of those silly things like, you watch people turn wood on a lathe, and you watch gardening, and it's like, oh, YouTube, the magical rabbit hole that nobody ever can escape from. So Noah has two questions for us. Do you dedicate certain pipes to specific blends? And the second question is, what are your guys' opinion on Lakeland blends? So, Tim, do you have certain pipes for specific blends?
I do not. I just I pick up the ones that appeal to me, and whatever I'm in the mood for, I pack it, and I do that knowing that I'm probably going to pick up a ghost from the time before, but I just roll with it, and so I really don't. I tended to be more of a I smoke this pipe for a stretch of time, and then I get tired of it, and then I smoke a different pipe for a stretch of time. So I guess that, the answer to that question is nope, I don't. I just kind of just whatever sounds good to me, looks good to me from a pipe perspective, and then I look at my stack of tobacco and gee, what sounds good today? I haven't had this in a while. Let's try this. What was the tobacco blend that he asked about?
Lakeland blends.
Don't know a thing about it. Wish I could help. But I do have a question for him about gardening.
Well, go ahead and ask him. He'll be watching, so.
All right. Well, my garden starts out great in May. And then by June, it's looking pretty good. But I'm starting to get a lot of additional plants in there that I didn't plant. And then by July, it's about hip deep in weeds. The chickens don't help a lot because they get in there and scratch around and dig things up. The deer jump the fence and, eat the stuff down to it, that's good down to a nub. So anyway, what should I be doing different?
Okay, Noah, there you go. Now we're asking you questions about gardening. So answer Tim.
What I'll do is I'll apply a lawnmower to it about mid-August. I apply the lawnmower to it.
Brush hog.
I make salad.
Whack it all down to 4 inches and call it a day. That's right. Keeping the vegans in your neighborhood happy. Here you go. What's this? It's lawn clippings, but you're going to love it. It's GMO free range lawn.
Right.
So,
right.
Okay.
Groundhogs that eat in the centers
do I have
of all
certain
the melons
pipes?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Unruly.
No, that's okay. This is part of the fun of being us. It's old guys talking about stuff.
You're talking pipes, and I'm out
in
here
answer to your
reminiscing
question,
about my shitty garden.
Unfortunately for the last 10 years of my life, I've been renting. There's not been a lot of gardening in my life, so I don't really have any gardening questions. Sorry, Noah.
Yeah.
In answer to your, do I have certain pipes for specific blends? I have 3 pipes that I use that I only smoke specific blends out of. So I have an LCS Briar horn, which I absolutely love, and the only thing I smoke out of it are Virginia Forward blends. It just handles them spectacularly. And Simon has made some incredible pipes, and as you know, I absolutely love Simon pipes. I think I have 12 or 13 of them at this point. And I would get more, but the exchange rate right now to the British pound is absolutely heinous. So if you're going to PayPal somebody in the UK for a pipe, it's 1.3. It's adding 30% to the cost of the pipe, which has quelled my desire. When I first started getting Simon pipes, I think it was...
Did you say anus or anus?
No, heinous. No,
Oh,
I did not mention
okay.
anus, but thank you, Tim. And by the way, tonight's show is sponsored by Redbreast Irish Whiskey, and I'm about 4 fingers in a bathtub deep. So hope you all enjoy the show. I have a great relationship with Jack Ryan at Jack Ryan Pipes and Simon at LCS Briars, and I haven't bought any other pipes because the exchange rate is so terrible that 30% bump to buy pipes from them is just painful. And Simon and Jack have both created some spectacular pipes that I would love to add to my collection, but wow, we've got to work on, Bidenomics is really helping America out dramatically. I'm hoping that we can fix that soon. But I do have,
go Brandon.
And I've got a Corey Brown, stacked billiard, the Simon LCS horn, and I have another pipe that I use exclusively for Virginias. Everything else in my collection, and I think I don't want to say how many pipes I have because then my wife will listen to the podcast and say, why do you have so many pipes? Most everything else, I just, whatever strikes my fancy that day. And as you can see behind me, there are 39 pipes in that particular rack, and that is my drive to work collection. So every day I just grab one out of the 39, and whatever I take with, I have a bowl going to work and a bowl coming home from work. And whatever strikes my fancy is exactly what's it. And what's my opinion on Lakeland blends? No. Lakeland geranium water is what they flavor Lakeland blends with. It's got that floral geranium essence. And I don't like geraniums when they're in geranium form. And then you're going to put it on my beloved pipe tobacco and call it a Lakeland blend? Absolutely not. No. Just say no to Lakeland blends.
That sounds horrible.
Dean, it's not a personal favorite. And if you like Lakeland blends, that's great. I'm not. Yeah,
it's like grinding up
that. It's like,
and putting your pipe.
Yeah,
it's
and I've had a couple
of cinnamon scented pine cones.
Yeah, and I love it at work when we sprayed Febreze in the bathroom. Oh, cool! I love the smell of citrus, because that's awesome. Oh, is that an orange flavored turd that you left in there? Perfect, spectacular. Just no.
Watch your language, sir. This here's a family establishment.
That's right. Remember, kids, this is not 18 and younger suitable. So
right, and then stay out of the woolworth.
I just don't. I think anybody that's talked to me or ever chatted with me, I like tobacco for being tobacco, and I do make some aromatics because people have asked for them, and that's fine. And I smoke aromatics periodically, but I prefer tobacco for being tobacco. And if your thought process is put geranium water on it, no. I just
Sounds terrible.
I don't like geraniums. Yeah, no. So no to Lakeland blends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like they take a bar of soap
not
over a cheese grater on top of the pile of tobacco.
Yeah. Oh, here's something that tastes terrible. I better put this in a tobacco blend. No,
Right.
please don't. Please don't. Yeah. In fact, Dean from last week's Ask Us Anything, when we traded the Rustica versus some other stuff, he goes, "Hey, what do you think about Innerdale?" No, that's a Lakeland blend. No, somebody sent me a tin of that, and it is resting comfortably next to the shelf of doom. I will never, ever smoke it again. All right. Do you have any more questions, Tim?
I do. Captain Kirk, 32.
No.
Name a time when you had a Nirvana smoke.
Ooh. I've had a couple. So when I came back to Pipes in 2019, and I've told the story multiple times, the lady at the Palm Springs Tinderbox said, "You should try this and this and this." And she gave me Acadian Perique, and she gave me Quiet Nights, and she gave me a blend long forgotten because my memory's about 12 minutes long. But Quiet Nights and Acadian Perique. Acadian Perique is probably one of my favorite tobaccos. And when I got home, I took my Urbino pipe, which was a tinderbox pipe, and I had purchased that pipe back in, gosh, Diane and I weren't even married yet. So it was 91, 92. So it was probably, almost a 30-year-old pipe when I got this tobacco. And I packed a bowl with Acadian Perique, and it completely changed how I thought about pipe tobacco. It was just unbelievably magical moment. And I'm sitting in my car, and I was just transported someplace else. It was so fantastic. I was just blown away by it. And then I had another pipe, and I fired up some Quiet Nights, and it was just, this is what pipe tobacco is supposed to be. And I've told the story before that I had bought Captain Spice. My grandfather, when he was coaching me in smoking pipes back in 1986, said, "Pick one blend and just smoke that, and you'll be a lot happier." My grandfather was wrong. There are just so many fantastic tobaccos out there. And I picked Captain Spice, and I really liked it. Never got tongue bite from it. And when I went to Tinderbox and got another, I don't remember what I bought, 10, 12 ounces of Captain Spice, and it was not anything what I remembered, and it gave me terrible tongue bite, and it was horrible. And when I went back the next year, that's when the lady at Tinderbox in Palm Springs, so I'm sorry I don't remember your name, but whoever you are fantastic. And if you're watching this podcast, please contact me, because you completely changed how I thought about pipe tobacco. So that was my Nirvana smoke, Kirk. How about you, Tim? What was your Nirvana smoke?
Well, first starting out about 3 years ago, I tried everything you could buy at a drugstore. And there's a lot of not so good tobaccos at the drugstore. Half and half, and Captain Black. Oh, look, there's a lot of people like Captain Black. It's not for me. I don't remember the names of some of it, but it just wasn't, it just stung the tongue and just acrid tasting. And then somebody gave me some, it was H&H Pure Latakia. And it was like, wow, that's how that should taste. And that's what lit the fire for me for Latakia. And then I had one time somebody shared it was 17-year-old Dorchester Esoterica. And it was the smoothest, best tasting Virginia I have ever had. And so those two things kind of set the bar for me. So you just this little bell goes off in your brain that now, you're looking for, like that peak experience. So I kind of compare, every one I compare to those. If it's a Virginia, it's like, nah, not quite it. or that's close, you know. Same thing with
Mm-hmm.
Latakia or Balkans or any Latakia forward tobacco. So those are the two that are in my history.
Okay. Excellent. Do you have any more questions?
I do. I have one more. Brandon Brady was kind enough to send one in. It says, "Do you all track
All right.
limited edition tobaccos uh, or small limited release small batch tobaccos? And if so, what's the best place or ways to do so?"
The short answer is no, not at all. Um, I don't have the fear of missing out. What I have much more of a fear of, okay, so it's a limited edition. I bought 10 tins of it and I absolutely hate it. That's what I have a fear of. I do not chase limited edition. I've had a couple of esoterica blends. Eric at EMC Custom Cobs was kind enough to send me, some esoterica, which were fabulous blends, but they're so hard to get. To me, that's a level of frustration. And I think it's the same with Frog Morton's. Any of the McClellan blends. I just don't chase that. I understand the business model because it's extremely successful. When you come out with a 5,010 or an 8,010 release, because that's what you made, when you look at it from the business side, okay, I can get 50 pounds of this unique Oriental or this unique Virginia, and you make a blend based on that. Fantastic. I completely understand it. And it's incredibly successful. C&D has made an art form out of it, and Sutliff has come out with their Strike Force blends, that they had bought some special stuff that was limited, that they can only do X amount of the tins for it. And wonderful. Do I chase it? Absolutely not. Just not. I just no. So how about you, Tim? You chasing any of the limited edition stuffs?
I am not. There are so many good ones out there that you don't have, again, that feeling like, I'm overpaying and chasing something that I don't know is going to be good or not. And for me right now, and I suppose it'll be like this for quite a while, it's all an exploration for me. Trying something different all the time and trying to decide, do I like this? Why do I like it? What do I like about it? And then, for me, from day to day, it changes. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think I've heard it said, you try to, when you sell her deep, not wide. I'm at a little bit of a different stage right now, personally, where I'm more in the breadth of things. I don't have enough refinement at this point to say this is exactly what I want. I know I like Latakia. I like Balkan blends. But there's some Virginias that I like too. So never say never. And so I'm just try a lot and just be open to it and so I sell her some things, but mostly I use it up because I want to see what I like about it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
I completely understand, and I think we're kind of on the same page. Neither one of us chase unobtainium. Neither one of us chase limited editions. So there you go. I suppose the last thing we should talk about before we wrap up today's episode is our conversation with Mitchell from MBSD, and what a fantastic website that is, and some of the stuff that he offers. You and I were fortunate enough to have a conversation with Mitchell, I think Saturday night or Friday night.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
And
Saturday night.
Yeah. And he does have just an incredible estate pipe collection. And there are some people that I won't ever smoke an estate pipe. Okay. I'm not in that camp. I like estate pipes because they have a history to them. I like the fact that, I have some of my grandfather's pipes sitting in my collection right now, and the type of pipes that he smoked weren't really in my wheelhouse, but I'm thrilled that I have them. And I do like the estate pipes simply because they have a history. This was someone's pipe at one point. This was someone's favorite, or someone really liked this and hung on to it, for X number of years. And when you can find that kind of magic, I think that's, again, what makes the pipe community so great is periodically you find those things that Mike at Pipe and Tamper was talking about. He got his birth year Dunhill this past week. And I think that's kind of the magic of estate pipes. You can find your birth year. Now, my birth year was 1965, so those pipes are old.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm going to find a 50-year-old pipe out there very easily. So,
yeah, mine.
What did you
I think
take away
mine would
from
be
our conversation
petrified.
with
Be made
Mitchell?
of stone now. You know, go back to 1957. It's
Hieroglyphs
starting
on
to
it?
set up. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So what did you take away from our conversation with Mitchell?
Well, everything that you said, I have to agree with. He reps a lot of manufacturers, Peterson and Savinelli and that kind of thing. And plus, the estate pipes, Meerschaum pipes, working with folks in Turkey to source Meerschaum pipes. And I think, what we had talked about was the notion of working together on a sponsorship type basis where, he would perhaps offer a pipe as a giveaway on our channel, on our show. And so for folks that are listening to this, if there's a pipe, an estate pipe, or something that you think that would be unique to see, that would be either something that we could hold up as an example, or one that potentially could be a giveaway, a raffle type pipe, let us know what you think that might be. That's one of the things that Mitchell offered as an idea. So take us up on that if you would, and shoot us a message on Instagram or on the YouTube channel in the comments section. Just if there was some unique pipes that you'd like to see, or potentially have the opportunity to get, let us know what that would be, and if he can accommodate us, he will.
Wonderful. I really enjoyed talking to him because I like to hear people with a business plan. And he's got an excellent business plan, and I really like the way he's going about it. And I am a huge supporter. Obviously, you and I are both small businesses, and I am a huge supporter of small business. It's just very exciting. He's got his own line of Meerschaum. He's sourcing from Turkey, which is some gorgeous pipes. If you haven't been to his website, it's MBSD.com.
Right.
I believe is correct.
Right,
and we'll put
correct.
the link in the comments below. And if there's something interesting you'd like to see, if we were going to do a customer appreciation or a listener appreciation as a giveaway, please let us know, and we'll contact Mitchell, and we'll see if we can put something together. But because we would like to do something different. Tim and I are also working on a separate plan, and we'll have some details forthcoming. And I apologize to Tim. I saw his email on Saturday, and I didn't get to it because I didn't. So,
Well, you were riding the couch.
It's held to be. Well, no, actually, Saturday we had some good.
No, that
Firework.
couch isn't going to hold itself down. You got to do your part.
And I discovered this magical stuff called Couch Mix. If you haven't tried it, it's spectacular. You take 3 or 4 of your favorite snack foods and you mix them all in one tin. So I really like goldfish. I like pretzel twists. I like the Giardetto's, what are those things
Right,
called?
the bar
Little
mix.
chips.
Yeah, the bar mix.
Oh, yeah.
Or the
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, and you mix all those up in a tote and just pour yourself a bowl full of them and ride your extra sofa. You know, sometimes I can do 4 or 5 hours on the extra sofa without really trying, and it's pretty damn comfy.
Well, hey,
Old guy
it's
stuff.
great.
You
Yeah,
know,
I know. Well, we've got we have one of those in our living room too, and I think all day today I pretty much planted my ass on that. I don't think I moved at all. It was it was so
Saturday,
boiling hot out today that I had a good
Saturday.
excuse.
Yeah, Saturday I was supposed to go to Edwards Tobacco. I'll be there in 2 weeks. I promise I'll be there. I'll have samples with me. But Diane and Alex both a little under the weather over the weekend, and I had to be nursemaid, step and fetch it. And comes Sunday, they're starting to feel a little bit better, and I took up the most comfortable position I could on the extra sofa and fell asleep for about 3.5 hours, and it was kind of magical. I really enjoy the extra sofa. So,
Was that one of those sleeps where your brain completely deprograms and you wake up, you fly out swinging? No?
I can't remember my name. I don't remember what I'm doing. Exactly. That's a perfect way to describe it.
Yeah.
You know.
And somebody had the audacity to pee my pants.
Well, as two guys with gray beards, my bladder is the size of, a good size almond. So any type of liquid that I ingest typically runs through me fairly quickly.
It's prostate the size of a grapefruit.
Yeah. Oh, Doc, you got the whole fist up there? All right.
No.
But part of the aging process, kids, if you haven't turned 50 yet, wait till you have your first colonoscopy.
Oh,
Woo!
yeah.
Good times. Yeah.
This show is getting better.
I'm sorry, I have
and
to
better.
drink every time. Just more magical every time. Last week we talked about what we should have for dinner. And sadly enough, we didn't get, that's kind of what I look forward to. The last question of the evening would be something, something ridiculous. What's
Right.
your favorite color? Or,
Right.
What type of shirts do you prefer?
Yeah, instead
No,
the last
they
question
didn't get
was,
this.
tell us about the worst weeping sore you've ever had on your body. And that's just what we did.
Yeah, exactly. So,
All right.
other than, I think we've kind of covered everything at this point. I do want to talk about one thing. So I had a friend send me, and he asked not to be named, and I appreciate. And he sent me a pound of 20-year-old Latakia, and it's why can't I think of the name of that country? Syrian Latakia, and it is breathtakingly good. And he said, well, what are you going to do with it? And I said, well, I have this idea for an English blend with this ancient Syrian Latakia. And it is so different from any of the Latakias that I have. It's wonderful. So be expecting that to be coming soon. So
That's cool.
I appreciate you, sir. Yeah. So we'll see what we come up with from that. I've got a couple of blends. I think everybody knows that when I sit down to do a blend, I start to look at blending ingredients and what I want to put with it, and I work on the math. And then if I think I've got the math right, then I'll put a sample blend together and see what it comes up with. And I put the first sample blend together last night. It'll be a couple of days in the press. I'll take it out and see what it tastes like, and we'll go from there. But
All right, cool.
very exciting.
Wow, that sounds great.
All right.
All right, well, I guess this
Anything
is
else
goodbye.
we want to chat about tonight? Yeah,
That's-
I mean,
I'm-
we're right at
About an hour.
Yeah, we're a little over an hour. Just enough fun. So if you're driving to work, you get to enjoy us halfway to work and halfway back, and you've covered the whole show. We really appreciate your listeners. And again, give us a rating. We'll send you stickers. If you just send me your email with your address on it, I'll send you a sticker. We really appreciate everyone that listens to the show. We really appreciate all the subscribers we've picked up on YouTube since we started. I think we're at 80 subscribers now. So
something like that. Yeah,
Justin and Nate talk about having tens of listeners. We have fives of listeners. So we're pretty excited. We're rolling right along.
That's right. Very good. Well, look, it's been a pleasure.
Indeed.
Indeed, it's an hour 5. Look, anybody could listen to somebody for an hour.
That's right. Especially two people like us. So
yeah, that's right.
That's right. Episode 5 coming up soon. We hope you enjoyed episode 4, and we'll chat with you later on. Thank you all very much.